My own special brew.
I'm having a little bit of a hard time with this mission. Ah, fuck.
Contaminate area.
Ah, shit. Ah, damn it! Fuck, 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 fuck! Fuck this. I'm going out on my own terms this time. Choke on me! Since I've failed about 3 or 4 times in a row, I'm just gonna post this and call it my first attempt. We'll just call the other ones practice runs for now. Mainly because I think there's only about a 10% chance of me winning this one, and that's based mostly off luck, not off of any kind of skill or anything. If I can't beat it this time, I'll just have to give it another shot down the road, but I don't want to spend a whole week trying to beat this one, as fun as it is. I think a little bit of variation might be nice, or at least posting a video this week since I'm kind of running behind. For a simple little game that gets really unfair and starts kicking your shit in super fucking hard, it's pretty fucking addictive. The first thing I learned was not to try to click on the workers to attack them unless it's just a couple of them, or unless I'm feeling a little bit ballsy, because sometimes a tractor just drives straight at them to try to run them over for some reason, and that usually gets you killed, if not at least a little bit damaged. So instead of trying to click on all the workers and obviously missing a couple of times and just clicking on the ground and send the toxin tractor their way, it's a better idea just to let the artificial intelligence handle it. Although it's not the best solution, you probably won't want to use the toxin hose too much anyways. It's more about using the sprinkler and staying on the move and not letting them corner you.
Be careful, it may spill. Try it. You'll like it. Don't mind the mess.
You need to use the hose and the sprinkler to wipe out some of the workers to make things a little bit easier on yourself, but it's really risky to do that since to use the hose or the sprinkler effectively, you have to stay still. The hose will fire off a little bit while you're moving and attack some of the people behind you, but it doesn't seem to fire off in a huge stream, and it just seems to kind of, spritz them and maybe infect one person who will die and then infect a couple of other ones, and it's usually not enough to actually stop them. But that being said, you want to kill as many of them as you possibly can, because if there's too many on the screen, there's really nothing that you can do, especially if they're coming at you from multiple angles. You're pretty much fucked at that point. For as slow as this game moves, if you wait a second too long or you hesitate to use a sprinkler or you take a wrong turn, it really destroys you pretty fucking quickly. You don't have a lot of time to make mistakes, even though it's a slow-moving type of challenge. It's pretty interesting in that, but that's what you get when you toss a couple of hundred fucking workers on the screen at once. It starts to get pretty fucking ridiculous. There's definitely something to finding an optimal route. It's kind of like Pac-Man in that sense. If you know the best route to take, the artificial intelligence is kind of fucked, but I really can't see what that route is. I've seen a couple areas that are definitely death traps, that's for sure, but I really don't know what kind of loop I should be making here.
Where should we contaminate? We deliver.
The only real option for attacking the workers while moving and running away is to run them over with the tractor, but that can be really risky because, as you can see, the pathing isn't 100% on it. Well, I guess the pathing's fine. It's just a little bit difficult to tell where it's going to go. Actually, I'm starting to feel like waypoints might not be a bad idea, but to be honest, I can't remember which key on the keyboard enables those. But yeah, if this doesn't work out, maybe I'll train myself in using those. It would be nice to see where the tractor is actually going to move, because it doesn't always move in the direct path you would think when you click on some of this stuff. And I guess that's due to some of the buildings kind of blocking enemies from going through them, including you. You can't run over the fence, but I don't know. It's something I got to figure out. This map just works a little bit differently than an average Command & Conquer map does. You'd expect you'd be able to run over the fences and drive through stuff, but you really can't do that. It makes this a little bit more difficult than it seems at first glance. And, well, you'll see later on if I survive that far. You'll see how fucking crazy it gets. It's really nothing that you can predict. Yeah, you know what? I take that back. You can predict the whole worker flood, but predicting an effective strategy to combat it, that's a tough one. At least my first couple of times and I got my ass kicked. Then again, I'm not really experienced with the Toxin Tractor. I think I've learned more about using it playing this than I have ever playing 0 Hour or any of the other Command & Conquer games.
Let's go for a stroll. Set to contaminate area.
Since shit looks like it's starting to get a bit real, I'm gonna slowly lurch over to my trump card. Calling it a trump card is a bit generous, but it will give me about 30 seconds of breathing room. Then again, I haven't reached the end of this map, so for all I know, I may be screwing myself over. You may need that to survive the last wave. Oh, I might as well just pop it now and spare myself a little bit of agony before the inevitable end. If I beat this now, it's gonna be with straight skill and not any kind of advanced knowledge about what's going on here. But I will give this mission credit. It's unfair, but it's not unfair using super weapons or indirect attacks. It's just nothing but overwhelming direct attack, which for the most part is just as cheap, but for whatever reason it doesn't feel as boring to me. At least when I get overwhelmed, it's face to face and not just a bunch of bullshit raining from the sky. With this blueberry fart cloud protecting me, I should be able to grab all the health that I need. Though this early in, I shouldn't have gotten hit. It's just one of those things you gotta deal with. Besides, later on, it'll get so intense that the only reason why having less health will be a big issue is that it'll slow you down if you're in yellow or red. But later in the match, when there's like 500 of them on the screen, if they catch you and hit you, it's kind of like getting hit 40 times at once. So you're really lucky if you survive to yellow or red at that point. So when you think about it, using health earlier on is probably the best time to use it. If you have to use the health later on, you're kind of just getting lucky. You're surviving pretty much unsurvivable attacks and crawling to the point to where you can get health and recover. That takes a pretty fucking fair amount of luck. Even if you know where all the health is gonna drop, you still have to deal with the fact that the workers kick it around, so it would be pretty hard to plot out a course that has all the healths kind of waiting there for you to cherry pick them. But, I don't know, maybe there is a way to do that. That would certainly be an easier way to handle this mission. But then again, like I said, if you let yourself get hit later on, you're pretty much fucked, so having a health route's not really going to help you out for more than the first 5 or 6 waves. Like I said earlier, your best chance for survival isn't to just hang around and fight them or take a bunch of damage. You just need to constantly run away. After a certain point, you don't even really get to decide where you want to go on the map. It just becomes a battle of you hurting them and them hurting you and trying to stay in a constant loop in a circle so that they can't kill you. Though if you get a chance to do the Toxin Sprinkle attack, it's a really fucking good idea, because it will kill a whole bunch of them. You know, the Toxin infects one infantry, then the infantry dies, and it infects a couple of others. You can get a nice little chain reaction going, and I'm pretty sure the more infantry that die inside one of those clouds, the longer the cloud lasts, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not entirely sure. I spent way too much time playing as the Demolition General. No toxins. Not that it's a huge loss, but yeah, I could have learned a whole lot more about toxins in the time I've spent playing this game.
Nice mess. Nice mess. Running on fumes.
This is the point that luck kind of comes into play. If you notice, some of the workers just kind of freeze in place. Sometimes when they freeze up, it'll just buy you a couple of seconds, but other times it'll save your life because you'll be completely surrounded and all the workers on one side will freeze up and you should be able to punch a hole right through them just by running them over. This is the thing that makes it kind of tough to decide whether to try to grab some health or to run for the more open area and try to come back again and try to get it when you have a bunch of them on your tail instead of right in front of you. The herding and zoning gets so intense that you really can't predict or tell where you're going. It's kind of just going with the flow. It's sort of like describing a bullet hell game. It's tough to describe the concepts of herding shots and how you weave between the, enemy fire and all that other stuff. And on screen, it just kind of looks like a big blur of shit because of all the other crap that's going on. But there's a definite pattern to it. Though even as I speak and dodge, I don't really have that pattern down. I'm really just winging it and making some decent guesses at the moment.
Be careful, it may spill. Sent to contaminate area.
Like I said, lucky guesses. I really didn't know that health would be there, or that I'd have an opportunity to do that sprinkle attack, but when you get that lucky, it looks like you knew what you were doing the whole time. Still, for all the good things I say about luck, it's only going to carry me so far when I run into situations like this, to where there's only really one way out. And that's bad, because one way out could lead straight to a dead end, and that's not really a way out, it's just delaying the inevitable. So I gotta focus on not letting myself get caught in the worst possible path I can choose, which sometimes involves turning back and taking a little bit of damage on the way. It's tough to gauge those. Sometimes you gotta choose between something shitty and something shittier, but the lines are so thin you can't really tell which one's the worst, and if you pick wrong, it's pretty much a fucking death sentence. Though I think at this point it would be pretty hard to critique anybody for choosing any of these paths. They're all pretty fucking bad. Not really much room to stretch here.
We deliver. Intoxicating. Sent to contaminate area. Let's go for a stroll. We deliver.
This is a really bad place to be, but if I gas the place up enough, it might mitigate some of the danger, at least a little bit.
It may spill. Where should we contaminate? Intoxicating. We deliver.
Ah, shit, I fucked this up. I'm gonna die. Gonna die.
Go for a stroll. Be careful. It may spill. Intoxicating. Let's go for a stroll.
It's okay. It's okay. Damage control. Damage control. Where's the health? I don't see any health. Fuck.
Where do you want to spray? Intoxicating. Let's go for a stroll. Let's go for a stroll. Be careful. It may spill.
Well, I'm out of ideas. Even if some health does drop, I'm too slow to turn out of the way for it, so unless it drops right in front of me, I'm not getting it.
We deliver.
No fucking way I'm making it out of this farm. Not even surprised this time. The other times I was kind of pissed off, but I saw this one coming.
It might be a little strong.
And I'm dead. Well, I'm not beating this today. Level 10's not that bad, though, but it is just the halfway point, so yeah, that's just half of it. I have a little bit more to learn about this mission before I get to Wave 20, but that'll have to wait till later. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.